Washington Mystics versus Connecticut Sun. It's an important WNBA clash on Thursday, August 22nd. The Mystics are 16-19 overall this season. They are 1.5 games back of a playoff spot as the season is coming to a close. Washington has won 3 of their last 5 games. The Sun are in last place with their 7-27 record. They have lost 6 of their last 8 outings, but they are coming off of a win over Washington. Washington is 16-19 overall this season. The Mystics are in 10th place and they are 12.5 games back of the Lynx for first place. The Mystics are 1.5 games back of the Storm for the final playoff spot. Washington is 6-11 when they have played on the road. Washington have won 3 of their last 5 games coming into Thursday night. In their last game, Washington lost 80-69 at home on Tuesday, August 19. The Mystics are 2-1 against the Sun this season. Brittany Sykes leads the team with 15.4 points and 4.4 assists per game. Kiki Iriafen is grabbing a team-high 8.6 rebounds per game too. Washington is averaging 81.5 points per game, which ranks 10th in the league. They are shooting 44.6% from the field, which places them 6th. The Mystics are the 5th ranked three-point shooting team, making 33.9% from beyond the arc. On defense, the Mystics are allowing 83.4 points per game, which ranks 8th. They are forcing their opponents to shoot 44% from the field, which ranks 7th. Washington is the 2nd best three-point defensive team, giving up 31.8% from deep. Washington is 17-18 against the spread this season. They are 9-8 against the spread when they have played on the road. The Mystics are 4-9 against the spread when they have been favored this year. The under is 18-16-1 when Washington have played this season. The under is 9-8 when Washington have played on the road. The Mystics have listed J.C. Sheldon and Georgia Amore as out for the game. Connecticut is 7-27 overall this season. They are in last place in the league and they have already been eliminated from playoff contention. The Sun are 1 game back of Chicago to get out of the league's basement. They have a 5-12 home record this season, but they have lost 6 of their last 8 games. The Sun are 1-2 against the Mystics this season. In their last game, the Sun defeated Washington 80-69 on the road on Tuesday, August 19th. Connecticut is led in scoring by Tina Charles with 16 points per game. Anissa Morrow is grabbing a team-high 6.1 rebounds per game, while Marina Mabry is passing a team-leading 3.8 assists per game. Connecticut enters Thursday night's matchup continuing to deal with the same offensive woes that have plagued them all season long. The Sun are averaging just 75.4 points per game, which ranks dead last in the WNBA and is a glaring weakness compared to the league average hovering around 82 points per contest. Efficiency has been a major issue as well, with the Sun shooting only 40.9% from the field, placing them 12th overall. Their lack of perimeter production has compounded the problem. Connecticut has been ice cold from three-point range all season, converting just 30.2% of their attempts from beyond the arc, which not only ranks last but also limits their ability to generate momentum-shifting runs. In today's league where spacing and outside shooting dictate so much of offensive flow, their inability to knock down shots consistently keeps them at a disadvantage every night. The struggles don't end on offense. Defensively, Connecticut has been far too generous, surrendering 86.3 points per game, which places them 10th out of 12 teams. Their inability to contain shooters has been particularly costly. Opponents are shooting 46.3% against the Sun, the worst defensive field goal percentage in the league, which indicates just how frequently opposing teams are getting quality looks. On the perimeter, they have been only slightly better, allowing opponents to shoot 34.3% from 3, ranking 10th. The inability to close out shooters, defend the paint effectively, or force teams into low-efficiency mid-range looks has made it difficult for the Sun to keep games within reach once they fall behind. When you pair their stagnant offense with a porous defense, it's not surprising why they've been one of the most inconsistent teams against top competition. From a betting perspective, Connecticut's profile is equally fascinating. They sit at 18-16 against the spread ATS overall this season, which is respectable on the surface. However, the context of those numbers tells a deeper story. When cast in the underdog role, a spot they find themselves in again on Thursday, they are 17-15 against the spread, which suggests they have been competitive enough to cover spreads despite often losing outright. At home, the Sun are 10-7 ATS, showing that they tend to play closer to expectations in front of their fans. Still, there are red flags. When listed as single-digit underdogs, they are just 4-7 against the spread, which directly applies here. That trend underscores their tendency to come up short in matchups where odds makers anticipate competitiveness. Totals bettors have also had mixed results with Connecticut games. The under is 17-16-1 overall, but at home, the over is 9-7-1, suggesting that in front of their crowd, games often feature slightly more scoring than expected, possibly due to defensive lapses. One encouraging note for Connecticut is that they enter Thursday's contest with no injuries listed, which is relatively rare this deep into the season. Having their full roster available should help with rotations and fatigue management, especially in a game that could dictate playoff positioning for both sides. That said, talent execution has been the issue all year, not health. The Suns simply need to find a way to generate sustainable offense if they want to stay alive in this race. On the other side, the Washington Mystics come in with a sense of urgency. Sitting just 1.5 games back of a playoff spot, every contest carries weight, and their recent loss to Connecticut on Tuesday could not have come at a worse time. However, Washington remains confident in its ability to rebound quickly. The Mystics have already defeated the Sun twice this season, winning 2 of the first 3 meetings between the teams, and stylistically they match up very well. Mystics rely heavily on their outside shooting, ranking 5th in the league in three-point percentage. That strength plays directly into Connecticut's weakness, as the Sun are one of the worst perimeter defenses in the league. In fact, three-point shooting figures to be the most decisive factor in Thursday's matchup. Washington is not only a top 5 offensive team from beyond the arc, but they also rank 2nd in three-point defense, holding opponents to some of the lowest percentages in the league. Contrast that with Connecticut, who rank last in three-point shooting and 10th in defending it, and you have a recipe for a significant edge in Washington's favor. Connecticut struggles to create scoring runs because of their inability to hit triples consistently, and when they do manage to string together stops, they rarely capitalize with momentum-building shots from deep. Meanwhile, the Mystics can bury opponents quickly when they get hot from distance. From a betting standpoint, Washington's profile is equally important to examine. The Mystics are 9-8 against the spread on the road this season, a solid mark that suggests they travel well enough to cover spreads even against quality opponents. When facing the Sun specifically, Washington's shooting advantage has been evident, allowing them to cover spreads in 2 of 3 meetings. The Mystics are also relatively healthy entering this game, and unlike the Sun, they are motivated by playoff aspirations, giving them an intangible edge that bettors often overlook. Motivation is a crucial factor in the latter stages of the season, especially when one team has little left to play for, while the other is fighting for a postseason berth. Pace is another factor that makes this game unique. Neither Washington nor Connecticut plays at a breakneck tempo, as both rank in the bottom 5 in pace. Washington ranks 8th overall, while Connecticut ranks 9th, meaning possessions will be drawn out, half-court execution will dominate, and shot selection will be magnified. Games with slower tempos often lead to unders because fewer possessions limit scoring opportunities. However, when one team has a glaring shooting edge, like Washington does from 3, slow pace can actually amplify that edge. Each possession carries more weight, and when the Mystics hit from deep, it becomes a dagger in a low possession game. Putting it all together, Thursday's matchup projects as another difficult night for Connecticut. Their inability to shoot threes, combined with their league-worst defense and opponent field goal percentage, leaves them exposed against a motivated Washington team that thrives from deep. The Mystics' superior outside shooting and strong three-point defense directly attack the Suns' weaknesses. Moreover, Connecticut's ATS struggles as a single-digit underdog, 4-7, suggests they often underperform in spots like this. With playoff hopes at stake and past success versus the Sun, the Mystics are the pick both outright and against the spread. In terms of the total, the slower tempo of both teams suggests a lower scoring affair. Washington's defense is good enough to suppress Connecticut's already limited offense, and the Suns' inability to generate three-point scoring means they'll struggle to keep up. The under has been the more profitable play in Connecticut's games this year, and given the styles of play here, it lines up as the sharper side again. Unless the Mystics go on a shooting tear, the game likely stays below the projected total. After analyzing both teams, my pick for this match is Mystics minus 1.5. Drop your thoughts and predictions in the comments box. Minnesota Lynx versus Atlanta Dream. The WNBA betting action goes on Thursday, August 21st, 2025, with the Minnesota Lynx taking on the Atlanta Dream in the cross-conference showdown at Gateway Center in College Park, Georgia. Minnesota and Atlanta wrap up their 3-game regular season series. They split the first 2 encounters in 2025, with each team emerging victorious on the road. The Lynx outlasted the Dream 96-92 in overtime as 3.5-point favorites on June 27th, and Atlanta responded with a 90-86 victory a month later. The Dream stunned the Lynx as 8-point underdogs. The Lynx are slight 1.5-point road favorites this time around, and the total sits at 159.5 points. The Minnesota Lynx, 28-6, 20-13-1 against the spread, just finished a ridiculous stretch of 3 straight contests against the reigning WNBA champions, the New York Liberty. After a couple of wins over New York, 83-71 and 86-80, the Lynx suffered an 85-75 defeat at the Liberty this past Tuesday. The Lynx put an end to their 6-game winning streak with that 10-point loss in New York. They shot just 40.8% from the field, 6 for 22 from deep, while posting an ugly 10-11 assist to turnover ratio. Courtney Williams led the way for Minnesota with 17 points and 5 rebounds, and Natisha Hiedeman had 16 points. However, the supporting cast struggled to find rhythm offensively, and the lack of consistent ball movement allowed New York's defense to control the pace and limit second chance opportunities. Nafisa Collier, 23.5 points per game, 7.5 rebounds per game, missed her 5th straight game due to an ankle injury. And Minnesota's leading scorer is officially ruled out for Thursday's matchup with the Dream. Her absence continues to test the Lynx's depth and overall offensive rhythm, as she has been the focal point of their attack all season. Despite Collier being sidelined, Minnesota remains in full control of the WNBA standings, sitting comfortably atop the league at 6.5 games clear of both New York and Atlanta. That cushion has allowed them to remain patient with her recovery, but it also places more responsibility on the supporting cast to sustain the team's momentum heading into the stretch run. Minnesota leads the league in both offensive and defensive efficiency, showcasing their balance on both ends of the floor. The Lynx are scoring 112.2 points per 100 possessions, while holding opponents to just 98.5 points in return, making them one of the few teams with a double-digit efficiency margin. They also rank 7th in three-point rate, .378, showing a healthy reliance on the perimeter shot, and they've been the league's most accurate team from deep, knocking down triples at a league-best 36.7%. This combination of volume and efficiency from beyond the arc has made their offense even more dangerous. The Atlanta Dream, 22-13, 22-13 ATS, have dropped 2 of their previous 3 games, struggling to find late-game consistency in tight matchups. They've sandwiched a convincing 79-63 road victory at the Golden State Valkyries with a pair of frustratingly close defeats against elite competition, falling to the Seattle Storm 80-78 and the Las Vegas Aces 74-72. Both games that came down to the final possessions. Atlanta returned home earlier this week after wrapping up a demanding 6-game road trip that tested both their depth and endurance. The trip ended with a difficult loss in Las Vegas against the reigning champions, a game that could have been a statement victory had the Dream closed things out. With 8:44 left in the 4th quarter, Atlanta held a 10-point lead, seemingly in control of the contest. But the Dream couldn't maintain their composure down the stretch, committing costly turnovers, missing open looks, and failing to contain Aja Wilson. Las Vegas capitalized in championship fashion, storming back to steal the win. Offensively, Atlanta shot 40.0% from the field in that loss, including 8 for 29, 27.6% from three-point range. Their assist-to-turnover ratio of 16 assists to 15 turnovers was a reflection of their uneven execution. When the Dream are at their best, they move the ball crisply and generate quality perimeter looks. But the close turnover margin showed how Vegas forced them into mistakes, particularly in the 4th quarter. Defensively, the Dream had no answer for A'ja Wilson, who dominated with 32 points and 12 rebounds. Wilson not only punished them inside, but also drew extra attention that created space for her teammates. For Atlanta, Rhyne Howard was once again the leader, pouring in 19 points while adding 6 assists. Howard's ability to create her own shot and serve as a facilitator makes her the centerpiece of this team's offense. But she did not get quite enough support in the closing minutes. Alicia Gray chipped in 16 points. Brittany Griner added another 16. And veteran forward Nia Coffey contributed valuable energy. But the Dream simply couldn't withstand Wilson's onslaught. The absence of Jordan Canada continues to be a storyline for Atlanta. Canada, averaging 12.0 points and 5.7 assists per game, missed her 4th straight contest with a hamstring injury and is expected to remain sidelined for at least another week. Her absence forces Atlanta to lean more heavily on Howard as a primary ball handler, while Gray has had to take on more secondary creation responsibilities. Without Canada's steady playmaking, the Dream can look disjointed at times in late-game situations, which was evident against Las Vegas. Even so, Atlanta has positioned itself well in the standings. Entering Thursday, they are tied with the New York Liberty for the #1 spot, 2 seed. Though just half a game separates them from both Phoenix and Las Vegas. Every game carries significant weight, not only for seeding, but also for home court advantage come playoff time. The Dream's statistical profile explains why they remain in the hunt despite Canada's absence. They rank 2nd in the WNBA in both offensive efficiency, 108.9 points per 100 possessions, and defensive efficiency, allowing just 101.0. That balance on both ends makes them a formidable opponent. From beyond the arc, Atlanta ranks 7th in three-point percentage at 33.4%, but 2nd in three-point rate, with 41.7% of their shots coming from deep. Their heavy reliance on threes makes them dangerous on nights when the perimeter shots are falling, but it also means their offense can stagnate when those looks don't drop. The Minnesota Lynx, meanwhile, have been the standard in terms of efficiency this season. They rank 1st in the league in both offensive and defensive efficiency, which has allowed them to remain consistent despite not playing at a fast pace. Minnesota averages just 76.9 possessions per 40 minutes, ranking 11th in pace. Atlanta, interestingly, plays even slower at 76.5 possessions, ranking 12th. With both teams near the bottom of the league in pace, this matchup is almost certain to feature extended half-court possessions, careful execution, and fewer overall scoring opportunities. The head-to-head series between these two teams has been entertaining. Their first 2 encounters this season were close battles, each decided by single digits, and both games went over the total. Much of that scoring came from star power, including Napheesa Collier's dominance. Collier dropped 32 points the last time these teams met, controlling the game offensively and defensively. Her absence this time is a massive blow for Minnesota. Collier is the league's leading scorer and the focal point of the Lynx's offense, not only generating buckets herself, but also drawing defensive attention that creates opportunities for teammates. Without her, Minnesota must rely more on balanced scoring, with Kayla McBride, Bridget Carlton, and Alana Smith needing to step up. From a betting perspective, Collier's absence cannot be overstated. Minnesota has been elite with her on the floor, but without her, their offensive identity shifts dramatically. They become more perimeter-oriented, less effective at drawing fouls, and lose their go-to option in crunch time. Combine that with Atlanta's top-ranked defensive rebounding rate, number 1 in defensive rebound percentage, and the Dream hold a major advantage in controlling second-chance points. The Dream's ability to close possessions and push the ball the other way will be critical, especially since both teams will be grinding out half-court possessions. Trends point toward a low-scoring game. The under is 3-0-1 in Minnesota's last 4 contests overall, and Atlanta has seen the under cash in 6 straight games. With both teams ranking bottom 2 in pace, this projects to be another grinder. The sportsbooks agree, as evidenced by the narrow 1.5-point spread, which indicates how closely matched these teams are despite Collier's absence. Atlanta's strong home ATS record and Minnesota's missing star give the Dream a clear edge. Ultimately, this comes down to personnel. Without Collier, Minnesota loses not just their leading scorer, but also their best interior defender. Atlanta, meanwhile, is missing Canada, but her absence is more manageable because Howard, Gray, and Griner can shoulder the offensive load. Expect Atlanta to emphasize attacking the paint and crashing the glass, areas where Collier's absence will be felt most. If Atlanta hits enough threes to keep Minnesota honest, they can pull away late at home. Prediction: in a slow-paced, defensive-minded contest, Atlanta's rebounding dominance and Minnesota's lack of Collier tilt the balance. Expect a close game through 3 quarters, but the Dream's ability to secure stops and convert second-chance opportunities should allow them to cover the short spread. Look for the under to cash once again, consistent with both teams' recent trends. After analyzing both teams, my pick for this match is Atlanta Dream ML. Drop your thoughts and predictions in the comments box.